Hello, welcome to Miss Peepers Reading Corner. I'm Katrina, aka Miss Peepers. Let's talk about books. Throughout October, we are celebrating Banned Books Week by talking about banned books. Every video this month, we are going to discuss a different banned book with the idea of understanding what books are banned, why books are banned, and ultimately I want to encourage you, the reader, to read the books that you want to read and not let anyone tell you what books you're allowed to read. Today, we're going to be talking about a graphic novel series, Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is a love story about two teenage boys, one who at the beginning of the novel has been out as gay for a while, and the other who is still understanding his sexuality and comes to realize that he is bisexual. So we have Charlie and Nick. This is a romance, but it's also social commentary. It is also gentle education, and it is written for a young adult teenage audience. People of all ages are really connecting to these characters, seeing themselves, seeing their friends, their family, the people in their lives, and gaining a better understanding of what it means to understand your sexual identity. And there's a bit in here about gender identity as well with some of the side characters. So I love that about these books. As I mentioned, they're sort of a gentle education in that we do learn about queerness and different identities and different experiences, but it's not preachy and it's not a whole bunch of exposition. So it's not like reading a textbook or an article. We're just watching it unfold, and we're coming at it from different angles and different characters that have all sorts of different identities. This book certainly comes with content warnings. There is some queerphobia, transphobia in this book. There are discussions of eating disorders and self-harm. So those are important things to know about going in. These books are ultimately very warm and fuzzy, I would say, because this relationship, this courtship is so sweet, and Nick and Charlie are so charming. Their friends are delightful, and even a lot of the adults in this book, this is something that I don't think we see enough in children's and young adult literature, where the adults, most of them, are actually very supportive, and some of them say the wrong things, but most of them say the right things, or at least are trying to say the right things and are coming from a positive place and from a loving and welcoming place. This series also made me cry more than once. Both happy tears and sad tears, because there's so many emotions that are happening throughout this whole thing. It's really just beautiful. So, why challenge this book then? Well, you got gay people in it, gay teenagers. This book has been taken not only from libraries, but also from bookstores because it depicts gay relationships in a positive light. And I just have to ask, why wouldn't you depict gay relationships in a positive light? We are very queer friendly here at Ms. Peepers Reading Corner. We are welcoming of all people and all identities. We don't have time for this homophobic nonsense. But I specifically want to talk about a case just last year because it upset me. In 2023 in Mississippi, an anti-LGBTQ+ group lodged a series of complaints against LGBTQ+ books, including this series. And not only did they have a religious complaint, quote, "If the Bible says it's wrong, it's wrong." Bible says a lot of things that we don't take literally. But what was most egregious to me was that this book was described as pornography. Now look, we're discussing a number of books this month that have quite a bit of sexual content in them. And one can have a nuanced discussion about whether a particular sex scene or assault scene could be considered pornographic or obscene. This book literally has no sex in it. There's none. In fact, Nick and Charlie have a conversation. It's a really cute and awkward conversation where they both acknowledge that neither of them is ready to take that step in their relationship. And they're actually both relieved to have that pressure gone. So they're able to relax into their relationship and just take it slow on a physical level. And I want to be really, really clear. that even if there were sex in this, even if there were gay sex in this, I would not consider it pornography. But they're not reacting to a sex scene. They're reacting to this. Oh no, boys kissing. It makes me mad on so many levels. If this were a heterosexual couple kissing in a graphic novel, that same group would not have a problem with it. If all of these pictures were exactly the same, but either Nick or Charlie was a girl, no problem. And that is what upsets me, because it's not that they really think it's pornography. The issue is that they don't like that it's gay. I'm just gonna share one more quote from these challengers. If I'm mad, you get to be mad too. Which says, there are so many places children can get negative information and sexual content. Why does it have to be here, meaning the library or the bookstore? There is no negative information in here. Actually, this is beautifully informative. Nick and Charlie are incredibly responsible as a couple, and the advice that they get from the adults in their lives is incredibly responsible. I just don't have words because it's so very openly and obviously queerphobic, and it pisses me off. I'll say it, it pisses me off. And unfortunately, even incredibly successful, internationally successful authors as Alice Oseman has become, she's British, challenges, censorship, book bans, all disproportionately affect people in marginalized communities, queer people, people of color, and that percentage just keeps on rising. And so what I would encourage to all of you, in addition to reading the books that you want to read, I don't want to force anyone to read this, but I also feel it should be available to people who do want to read it. I think it could be truly a source of comfort to someone who feels so different, particularly in a smaller community or a more conservative or religious community where they may feel they really are the only one, even though they probably aren't. But even though they may feel that they are the only one who feels differently or feels like they might be someone other than what society tells them. And a book like this, where you can see yourself, where you can see someone dealing with the same things you are, it makes you feel less alone. And ultimately, that's what books should do. And as someone who grew up reading quite voraciously as a child, there are periods in my life that I could not have gotten through if not for books. Not just books that I can see myself in, but just books in general. And to cut down access to that, especially for younger people who don't have as many options for acquiring books, maybe they don't have access to the funds, or the library has pulled the books off the shelves. They may not be able to find something like this. So I do love that this has also been adapted by Netflix, and that adaptation is on point, by the way. Beautifully done. These books are just so good. And the last thing that I will say in closing is that even if you think these are not well written, or if you don't like the art style, or if you disagree with the decisions of the characters, maybe you don't like Alice Oseman, that's okay. But to ban it, to take it off the shelves, to take it away from other people who might enjoy it, that just is not right to me. And calling it pornography is completely inaccurate, and there is literally no case for it. All right, rant over. I will end on a positive note. As I said, I loved these books. So tell me, have you read Heartstopper or anything else by Alice Oseman? Tell me what you thought in the comments. As always, please be civil in the comments. I know this is a particularly charged topic, and either way, I will see you in the next one.